we're starting to get everyone back together. Schaefer and I are leaving Barcelona today, starting the drive to Andorra. It's about a 3-hour drive, so not much on the schedule today, so we're just gonna stop by this massive church on a hill before we finish the drive.
The only church I know of that has a bunch of roller coasters. It'd be cool if they were all like church-themed rides.
Yeah.
I hope we get to ride the Path of Temptation.
Shafe, was it what you expected?
It was more than I could have ever dreamed. They had rides, slides, and heavenly brides. Now it's off to Andorra.
What about you, Jordy? What did you do? What have you been up to?
I went from downhill world champs to XC world champs with Marco and Giacomo, and slept on a little single mattress that probably came out of a prison.
No.
One of those ones that you roll over and it's like, and what is that? It was fine though. XC worlds it was super quiet. There was nothing going on. So just kind of hung out for a while and talked to XC people. It was great racing. Aww. And then Saturday I came here, and the airline decided to keep my bike in Edinburgh. Bruh, we know how to say it. I just got it back today, so it's been 9 days, something like that. I borrowed a bike from Common Sol all week, which was cool, like brand new. Meta. It's been fun. Got to ride a bit. Got to talk to Danny a bit. Jackson's out. Saw Greg for a while. Who else is around? A lot of people around. But I've been laying pretty low.
Well, are you ready for some hard-hitting questions from the dialogians?
Do it.
And dialistas.
And dialistas. Well, first of all, John Hall, not the John Hall you know, but a different John Hall, saw you at the Galbraith race. How'd it go? Yeah. How'd you do?
That's a good question. Oh, I got second again. I think that's all I do.
Sick.
I'm really good at getting seconds in old man class.
First loser.
Yeah. Among the all the other age groups and then the pros. And then my group. So 135th loser.
No way, man. That's sick.
It was a fun race though. That was Northwest Tune-Up. That was actually a really cool event. I'd go back for sure. We saw bands that we wanted to see with no people in the early evening afternoon. So raced, showered, went down to the venue at 4 o'clock and watched music till whatever, probably 5:30.
Yeah.
No, it was 1 hour sets though.
Sick.
It was so cool. It's actually pretty fun.
Nice. Who in the Fox pits is always tinkering with their suspension, setting things, and who's the set it and forget it type?
I tinker with everything all the time. Ooh, Giacomo's pretty bad too, though. Bad, good. I don't know how you want to describe it. I think Pete's the most set it. Maybe Pete or Jules is most set it and forget it. But I'll go with Pete. I don't think Pete even understands what the knobs do.
Oh, thank God Pete's back. Take all the blows. Poor guy. Other than incorrect sag, what's the next number one thing you see the average rider doing incorrectly with their suspension?
Man, they're all number ones. I'll go with volume. Volume spacers. Because I think people don't check sag or pressure and then go straight to volume spacers. So then you're just doubly wrong.
Good value add, Jordy.
Thanks.
Good tip. If you were going to upgrade base level suspension on your trail bike, would you do the fork first or the shock first?
Damn, that's funny. Because when my bike didn't show up, I almost bought a bike at the corner market. I almost went to Toys R Us and got a new bike. And it has, like, pretty cheap, not cheap, like, it was humbling for me to walk in and be like, damn, I got to spend $3,000 on a bike. And that's entry level for a decent mountain bike. It was a Scott Genius, and it came with a Marzocchi fork, which is perfectly good. Here's what I found. But, like, entry level suspension for us. And it's like, well, which would I change first? So that's a very pertinent question. I don't know. There's so, like, every brand does different things with spec, and some will spec, like, that bike in particular had a pretty good Marzocchi fork, and it had a really crappy shock, not made by us or even one of the other big brands. So in that case, I'd replace the shock. I think ride it first and figure out which is the weakest link. Like, that bike had a good frame, good wheels, and a decent fork, and then the rest of the stuff had to make up the price there. So they put a cheap shock because it's hidden, and bars and grips and all that stuff. So it really varies. I couldn't say just replace this or that. Like, most of the time, replace the tires first.
Another good hot tip.
Don't call it a hack.
What is the biggest disaster that has ever happened at the Fox Pit at a DH race?
Oh, man. There haven't been a lot, for sure. I mean, I don't think this is scary too.
Yeah, no kidding.
There's been a lot of little ones. I think I talked about when we had the first grip dampers as a rad prototype at Valdesola, I think, and Greg was on one. And it was like this thing, we went from the RC2 to a rad grip before the grip 2. And everybody's like, this is amazing, this is the best damper ever. And his malfunctioned right before qualies. And we had explained to everybody, if this thing breaks, we don't have parts, we don't have anything. If it breaks, you're back on the old damper. And Greg, being his normal little bitchy self, was like, nope, fix it.
Oh, God.
So pulled it out, and luckily it was a pretty easy fix and got it back together. So it wasn't a disaster, but it was definitely a high stress situation. Honestly, the biggest mess was last weekend at XC, which isn't DH, so it didn't count, but we were trying to install this prototype rad damper in Vanderpool's fork, and he has a specific lockout assembly that we hadn't worked with before. We were just going off engineering drawings, and it didn't work. And they weren't super clear as to timeline, and next thing I know, he's like, well, he's already 20 minutes late for practice. And we're like, things are in pieces. And it's like, oh shit, he's sitting there, his manager's sitting there. And we're just like bumblefucking everything. Like, every single thing that could go wrong went wrong. I felt like such a rookie. And that's probably the worst time I've ever had in the pits. It ruined me for a couple days, and I'm still like, oh God, I feel like such an idiot.
Oh, man.
So it happens. And that guy's probably thinking like, wow, these guys are suspension professionals.
Oh. Damn, that's brutal.
And then he crashed in the first 30 seconds, so.
Oh, no.
It wasn't our fault.
Oh. Hummus Power said he heard this on the Ride Companion, but it's a banger. It's the zombie apocalypse, and you've got your enduro bike and a bum bag, and you can only take 3 items with you in the bum bag. What are you taking?
Enduro bike, downhill tires. We're good with that. Man, this is, again, what am I going to go do? Is this like to live for the zombie apocalypse? And if I tell people I'm going to put a handgun in my fanny pack, is that cool? Or is this going to be like, because obviously I'd put a water filter, probably a gun, and a knife, or like a multi-tool kind of like a Leatherman, or a samurai sword. I've thought of the perfect zombie apocalypse weapon so many times. Like, what would I pick?
Yeah,
I feel like with a gun, you'd be so stressed about running out of ammo. Obviously, it's needed, but you better get good with a sword, or... I mean, really, you just want to penetrate the brain a little bit, right? You don't want it to get stuck.
Yeah. Samurai sword's a good answer.
Ice axe, it's kind of short. You have to get pretty close. Could get stuck in their brain, then you have to pull it out.
I just saw Oppenheimer. I'd bring the one they built in that.
The bomb they built? Oh.
Just nuke the whole planet.
It seems like a pretty good one.
Don't worry, Schaefer's got a nuclear bomb.
Oppen Schaefer.
Nice.
That's all my questions.
I have one from Schaefer Nickel from Gunnison, Colorado.
Wow.
If you could ride anywhere in the world that you've never ridden, where would it be?
I can't believe you haven't thought
Good
of that
question,
one.
Schaefer.
Thank you.
I don't know, because I've never been there. Where have I said I wanted to go? This is like specifically for riding, right? Because I always wanted to go through Vietnam, not necessarily for bike riding. But.
Yeah.
Did you pick a place?
Oh, yeah.
There's a right answer.
Oh,
I don't know.
It's Gunnison, Colorado.
It is good to be back, and we're back in full force. It's going to be such a hectic month of racing. We've got back-to-back-to-back DH races coming up, so I hope you're ready for a lot more dials. But for now, we will see you tomorrow when we figure out whatever the pit situation is going to be here.